Happy Friday, what in the hell? Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the Bologna Show presented by the Chicago Sports Bums. I am Bologna, and this is an open gym version of the Bologna Show. I said it's been a long week, and it's only Wednesday. It's been a long day. It's 9 o'clock. And we got no topics. Actually, that's a lie. We got 3 topics that I really want to get to, but then after that, open swim. We'll answer questions. We're just going to be stream of consciousness. And I didn't want to do it alone, so I sent out the bat signal to all of the bums, and only one showed up. And it's the Southside Bum, Juanito, Johnny. Shout out Johnny for working on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely jumped on it when you said that you needed somebody to help out. So I'm glad I'm here. I'm excited. Like, I think maybe if you were a show about nothing, you should have made it more of like a Seinfeld reference than anything. But still, Gem, that's fine. That works.
Yeah, I just remember, and here's the honest. You know what? Let me get to some comments because we got the usual gang of miscreants in the comments. Gordo is saying, "Welcome back, Johnny." Southside JT says, "I purposely went on a Modelo run after work just for this."
Hell yeah.
Cheers. I also got a Modelo run after work. I'm loaded with Modelos. Can I tell you an early bum of the week? And I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it on Monday. For about 6 days, I had absolutely no beer in the house. That's the first time since I moved into the house that I just ran out of beers between the tailgates and I never really stocked up. I had no beer for like 6 days. That was bad. A lot of whiskey though.
Wow, not even a spare. Usually, sometimes you have spares in the trunk.
You know what? I did have some Guinness that is like 5 years old that I probably should throw away. But I was like, I'm not drinking those. Sometimes
that's for measures. You got to go and just do it. But no, that's good. You were busy. You had a long week, a couple days, so that's fine. Now you're stuck. Now you're good to go.
Jason's watching this. I imagine Jason is watching this with the White Sox on one screen and the Bologna Show on the other screen. Maybe a couple more people are doing that. So let us know. I was going to originally just live stream the game, not like visually, but I was just going to like update people. But now we got some topics. So you guys update us on the White Sox because they're good again.
Man, you know what?
Yeah, JT, Johnny.
Yeah,
you were at the game 3 days in a row.
Yeah. Well, no, 2 days. I didn't go on that afternoon one. But yes, I was sitting right by JT, and he finally got that ball he was looking for. You know, that night prior, he just missed it, and then had a little bruise on the finger. But you know what? This stuff happens. He got the ball. It was great, even though Gabriel was trying to wrestle with them. But nonetheless, Gabriel had gotten a foul ball as well too. So they both got a ball each. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I talked about it on Monday for people that don't know, or maybe people that listen on the podcast and aren't familiar, because I typically don't talk sports, but we're going to talk a little sports today. Yeah, we typically sit in the 108 with the crew from the 108 and everyone else from White Sox Twitter. And I said on Monday, Munetaka Murakami might kill somebody by the end of the season. Like, he just has a laser beam focused right on that foul pole. Some are going to go foul. A lot of them are going to stay fair, and somebody's going to get hurt. And I'm excited to see who that is, because it could be anybody.
Man, I will say one thing though, that foul, or I'm sorry, that ball that came right by in the section 108, I had a bad read on it because it was coming in between the net and the foul pole, and Missy was right next to me. I don't think she knows this right now. I don't know if she's listening yet because I know she's watching the Sox game. I moved out of the way. I did. I should have. And you know what? She told me. She told me, and I do have to apologize to her because she says she can't read the ball when it comes that quick. That ball is scorching hot, and it's when it's coming. So you have a quick time to like try to get the ball and all that. And I just moved out of the way because I could not see that ball coming straight through. Yeah, it was quick. I mean, obviously JT could tell you, but I did tell her that the ball was coming this way, so she knew. I probably should have moved her out of the way as well too, and I didn't. I moved myself out of the way, so I do apologize. That's not a very manly thing for me to do, but I had a bad read. But the thing was, I had a bad read, so I didn't know where that ball was coming. It kind of curved in a sense, in a way, but just glad nobody got hurt. And like I said, he got that ball, so that's all that matters.
I can't fault you, man. Most people in the outfield right now for the White Sox have a bad read as well. So it's just par for the course. Although now we have, we're 6 minutes in. This is our second Seinfeld reference because you were basically like George during that fire scene where it's like children and kids and old people like running around and you just close the door behind you. You said heads up and then run away.
Listen, I would have protected her. She knows that as well too. But again, when that ball came, I like I said, I had a bad read on it, and it's my fault. So I'll be a little bit better next time when that ball comes.
We got Deborah Rivera.
Oh yeah, she went to high school with me. Yes, thank you.
Nice.
Stopping by.
That's are we doxing your high school? Because I don't remember where you went. No, I don't know where you went. It was Holy Trinity, right?
Yeah.
Is that still around?
Yeah, it's the only school. It's only the school that is still around. My grammar school closed. The Catholic school was around for over 100 years, and that closed. And
I only asked because I know a lot of schools are closing down or consolidating or kind of like.
Oh yeah, that's what's happening.
The old parishes don't exist anymore.
Yeah, even when I was, I didn't remember when I was in grammar school there were parishes that were actually consolidating back then. So I knew that was kind of like a thing that was starting to happen. So, but yeah, a school that I went to was around for over 100 years. I mean, the church is still around. It's just not enough. I don't know if it was not enough students or not enough enrollment. I don't know.
Nah, that tends to happen. But yeah, it's good to see people popping into the comments.
Yes.
So I said I had a couple pieces of nerd news. Before we get to the nerd news, we might as well get the ad out of the way. We get the business taken care of, but I'm excited to take care of this business because it's from a guy we like. Penguin Imprints is an independent print and custom apparel shop specializing in direct-to-consumer orders. From file prep to final cut, every order is treated like it matters and not rushed through mass production like other print houses. From sticker packs to t-shirts, custom canvas artwork, and my own personal favorite, the Abolish Ice line, Penguin Imprints has something for you. Penguin Imprints is a proud sponsor of the Bologna Show. Head over to penguinimprints.com and type in promo code Bologna for 20% off your purchase. I got to make sure I shout out Sandy P and Joey P. They got a couple tequila glasses on sale. So pre-orders are closing soon. I retweeted the link on X or Twitter, whatever people are calling it nowadays. I'm still saying Twitter. I still call it Comiskey. I still call it Twitter.
Yeah, I call it Twitter.
But yeah, head over to penguinimprints.com. Promo code Bologna gets you 20% off. All of that fun stuff. But yeah, I said I got a couple pieces of nerd news. The last one isn't necessarily nerd news. It's more music news. But let's get right into it because I think I've talked to you about this. I've talked to Jordan for sure about it. But it's kind of I've talked to everyone on the Bologna Show about this, and it's the Street Fighter movie. We broke down the casting, we broke down a couple things about it, but we finally got an official trailer last week. And the more I watched it, I've seen it a couple times now. I said it on Twitter. I'm excited about this movie. I'm excited about this movie. I'm excited about the He-Man movie. I don't know if either of those two movies are going to be any damn good, but I'm still excited about it. This looks like it's going to be, we talk about the White Sox being fun bad, and the 108 guys have that shirt, fun bad. This is the type of movie that might be fun bad. I know Noah Centeno as Ken. You can see him on screen. The trailer seemed like Ryu. Now they called him Ryu. I've always been a Ryu guy. I've always said Ryu.
That's what I said. Yeah.
But now in the trailer, it's Ryu. So he looks like he's down and out for a long time. I don't know what that's all about, but there's ups and downs to the trailer for sure. But I'm still excited for the movie. I'm gonna go see it in theaters. But this really looks like it could be a bust. But I'm excited for the fun bad aspect of it.
Yeah, I looked at this trailer because obviously, you know, this is the second installment of the Street Fighter being in the movies, and that one, I know everybody trashes that one because it was very goofy, obviously in the mid 90s and all that. I totally get that part. So I was hoping that maybe it'll be a little bit more darker in this particular Street Fighter installment. And to me, it still seems kind of goofy. Yes, will I be watching it? Of course, because I'm going to watch it. I love Street Fighter. I grew up on this. I grew up on the games and all that. There is one thing though that like upsets me, and I made fun of it on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. But that Gaio hair, man, that the whole thing about Gaio, and I don't know if it's Cody Rhodes or that fucking hair. He looks like Beavis. That hair looks absolutely ridiculous. And I think you could have done a lot better job on that hair. I don't know if it's just the hair or if, again, if it's Cody Rhodes, I don't know what it is. It just, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. It does look a lot of cartoonish, but obviously I can understand as well too. You have to, I mean, you have to, you gear it towards kids as well too. Cause I think that's like another thing. You want to have like a box office, you know, huge success on this. So I totally get the whole like goofiness as well too. And they tried everything they can to get it as close as possible. Obviously 50 Cent looking like Barlog. A lot of it seems pretty good, but that guy who it just, I don't know what it is. It's just throwing me.
Yeah. The hair,
so bad.
the hair is goofy. I know he's been like growing it out. So even during WrestleMania, he got beat up and it like, his hair just looks bad now in real life. And I think a lot of it has to do with the wig because he was wearing that wig around during like WrestleMania week. I think he's going to have permanent damage because of that wig. But yeah, I think like the scenes where the fighting is involved and they showed like right at the end, they showed a Hadouken. They showed the flash kick from Guile. They showed a couple more things. That's going to be awesome, right? That's fan service. That's stuff that, like, you know, we grew up as kids. The storyline is what I'm worried about. But again, this is made to be a popcorn movie. This is like a lot of times I talk about, you know, Fast and the Furious being ridiculous movies, but like they're popcorn movies. They're not going to be winning any awards. You're just supposed to, you know, have fun with them. So that's how I'm going into this.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it does well. Like I said, it was very goofy when they came out with the first one. And I'm hoping I will say though, I know this is a different same genre and area, but that Mortal Kombat 2 trailer looked very, very good. So I'm very excited to see that as well too. I saw the first one, but I definitely look like the second one's going to be, from the trailer looks good.
The first one wasn't bad. It left a lot to be desired. I think the second one is going to learn from their mistakes. From everything I've read, I feel like the second one's going to be more to it's going to be faster pace, and there's a lot more going on. So I'm excited about that too. The next movie is a movie I've talked about probably every single Bologna show since I've started this goddamn thing. And at this point, I'm sick and tired of talking about it, but I'm going to have to talk about it because I still got nothing to talk about. CinemaCon was last week. Marvel had this huge thing, or it was actually Disney had this huge thing, but Marvel was a part of it. They showed the trailer to everyone at CinemaCon. Phones were allowed in. So I'm like, oh, this thing's going to leak if it's not. But apparently Disney now is like the CIA. They had like lasers pointing towards the audience, so you couldn't record anything on screen. So like you're only able to get like 6 seconds at a time. And at this point, and I know this is a bad comparison because it's serious stuff, but I'm screaming at the top of my lungs to one, release the Epstein files, but also release the goddamn trailer. It's been a week. I'm going crazy, man. I'm not kidding you, dude. I wake up every morning and the first thing I do before I check emails, before I do anything is like, did somebody leak the trailer? Did somebody leak something? And like, there's no reason to just release it to the public. And I know as with my luck, we got the Bologna Show on Wednesday night. They'll probably release it Thursday. So I'm going to have to wait a whole another week to talk about it. But hopefully it's this week. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think with the Avengers and just everything in Marvel, it's kind of like turned me off a little bit. I used to be so big into like everything that Marvel would come out with, and it kind of turned me off. So I have been looking forward to this Avengers and what they're going to do, how they're going to go about it. And I'm the same. I hope that when it does come out, it's, you know, it's such like, it's, to me, I feel it's a resurgence for Marvel, because I think I'm not the only one who thinks that as well too. I know a lot of people that are kind of like turned off about Marvel right now. But I hope like with this, it brings it back up, because we definitely need something, you know, in this particular universe. And yeah, they definitely need to put it out there, because I'm the same with you. It's been way too long here.
It's been way too long. But as soon as they release it, I'm going to have a hot take for you guys or two. So I'm excited for it. I'm just can't wait. I don't want to keep talking about like little things. I want to talk about the meat and potatoes. Give me a trailer already. Mm-hmm. All right. Last bit of nerd news isn't not necessarily nerd news, because we talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last week with PL Dragons with Jordan. So I'm going to talk a little music with you, because this has been floating around. I saw this originally last week, and then somebody just recently shared it, but it's the top 50 bands of all times, according to Rolling Stone. And I feel like Rolling Stone does this like once every 10 years and kind of shifts and moves things around. But this is the latest of the top 50 bands of all time, according to Rolling Stone. And I'm glad you're on this episode when we get to talk about it, Johnny, because I know you have some thoughts on it. But let's start from the beginning, because obviously this is not only a live show, but this is also a podcast. I want people listening to it to know what the hell we're talking about. So I'm going to take a sip of my beer, and then I'm going to rattle off the first 50. No, I'll rattle off 50 to 26. We'll talk about the first half of the list and then break down the second. Is that okay, Johnny?
Before you even start, how pissed were you that you saw the Beatles up there and did not see Tom Petty?
Tom Petty is better than the Beatles. It's been a long take of mine forever. I'm glad you mentioned it, Johnny. Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise that the Beatles were number one. It's almost like The Godfather. They insist upon themselves.
Godfather's one of my favorite movies of all time, but go ahead.
It insists upon themselves. All right. So number 50 is Franz Ferdinand, 49 Dire Straits, 49 Red Hot Chili Peppers, 47 CCR, 46 Cream, 45 Allman Brothers, 44 Public Enemy, 43 The Ramones, 42 Primal Scream, 41 Sonic Youth, 40 Sex Pistols, 39 Black Sabbath, 38 The Cure, 37 AC/DC, 36 Kraftwerk, 35 Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, 34 Stone Roses, 33 Sly Stone, 32 Genesis, 31 Arcade Fire, 30 Deep Purple, 29 The Band, 28 Guns N' Roses, 27 Pearl Jam, and 26 Wilco. All right, so that's the first half of the list, Johnny. What are your immediate thoughts from 26 to 50?
Well, I will say a couple things here that I know that should not be on this list from that ones that you just mentioned, just because I feel like there's more bands that should be mentioned in here. I love Franz Ferdinand. They should not be on there.
That was as soon as I saw number 50, I'm like, Franz Ferdinand. They have arguably two good. They have one hit single. They have maybe two good songs, and maybe they have a couple more. But I was shocked that they were number 50. I don't know who they paid to get on this list, but Franz Ferdinand should not be on the list.
Their first album was great. After that, I never heard of them. I haven't heard anything about them. So, Dire Straits have a couple good hits. I don't think they should be on theirs.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I don't think
they're so good, man.
I'm not saying that they're not good. What I'm saying is that you could replace them with other bands. Now the thing is that I know you kind of threw this out here. I could have like added who I thought that should be on there. Kraftwerk was another one. I understand that Kraftwerk was pretty much the pioneers of what Daft Punk became.
Influential.
I get that. But have you listened to Kraftwerk before? Their music is not that great. To me, they're not that great. And what I feel that if they're going to be on there, Daft Punk should definitely be on there. So I don't think Kraftwerk should be on there. Same thing with Wilco. I'm not a big fan of Wilco at all. I don't think they should be on there. Sly Stone is probably another one as well too. Everybody else, Primal Scream.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I know, like, Franz Ferdinand was the first one that really stood out to me. I like Dire Straits a lot. I mean, just Money for Nothing by itself could be on this top 50 list. I like that so much. But now this is going to be a problem, right? Because our guy Yumper is a proud sponsor of the Bologna Show, so I appreciate everyone at Penguin Imprints. He's a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. You know how I feel about Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think they can be one of the top 50 bands of all time because they have an amazing bassist. They had John Frusciante at the time, where he was a good guitarist. Chad Smith is underrated as a drummer. And I hate Anthony Kiedis with a passion. I hate Anthony Kiedis so much. His lyrics make no sense. Jip jap, jimp chop, jip chop. He likes to rhyme things with words that don't rhyme and or don't exist. Not a big fan of Anthony Kiedis. So I would take Red Hot Chili Peppers off that list, but I understand why a lot of people like them. Other than that, I laughed and I talked about this pre-show, Johnny. When I first saw this list, I'm like, CSN and Y. I'm like, I've never even fucking heard of them. And then I realized, I was like, that's Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. That makes sense. But yeah, Wilco. Wilco's the one that stands out to me. I get it. I get why people like Wilco, but I just like it just never resonated for me. I feel like it's not even the age thing, because there's a lot of people our age. I know a lot of people our age that like them, but I just feel like I specifically missed out on the Wilco craze.
So there's one that somebody mentioned on the comments was the Stone Roses. I love the Stone Roses. Stone Roses as a Manchester band, they were the Oasis before the Oasis came. That's basically how I put it. So yeah, I love Stone Roses. I think definitely they should be on there. I don't know if this is also like when whoever was putting this list up was just putting like the influential bands as well too, because the Sex Pistols were very influential in the punk scene, and their I would say their greatest album was the only album that they had. They had like another one, but I just think that, again, I haven't looked at it thoroughly, but I just think that there's other deserving bands that should be on there. Yes, Soundgarden should be on there.
Yeah, that was a big omission.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I didn't think there was enough 90s bands in general, Now, obviously, like we'll get to the second half of the list, but like Nirvana is very high on that list. But there's a good amount of like 90s alternative bands that I think are not there. The one last thing, Joe Ribbon's in the comments and he's saying Arcade Fire overrated. I agree. I Wilco I never got into, and Arcade Fire it's another band that like I just didn't get it. I mean, there's like 1,000 people on stage all just being hippies and jamming out. I've never been much of that kind of like I know Arcade Fire is different than what I'm about to talk to, but like I've never been big into the jam bands, it's just never been my scene.
I know you would. I don't like Arcade Fire that much either. I don't see them on here, but I probably would have on my list. I probably would have put on at least Alice in Chains in there. I think they're well deserving to go on there as well too. This other side of this list is just driving me insane as well too.
All right.
But
let me get 25-1 for the people listening at home. 25 is Metallica, 24 is the Kinks, 23 Talking Heads, 22 the Strokes, 21 Joy Division, 20 Queen, 19 T-Rex, 18 Depeche Mode, 17 REM, 16 The Police, 15 The Smiths, 14 The Beach Boys, 13 Oasis, 12 The Byrds, 11 The Clash, 10 The Doors, 9 The Velvet Underground, 8 Nirvana, 7 Radiohead, 6 The Who, 5 Led Zeppelin, 4 Pink Floyd, 3 U2, 2 The Rolling Stones, and 1 The Beatles.
Yep. There's a lot of bands on there that it should not even be in the top anything. I like the Kinks. They should not be that high. I like Joy Division. Again, they shouldn't be that high. I like more New Order than Joy Division, but that's just me. T-Rex, same thing. REM's way too high. I don't mind them, but I don't know if they should be on this list either. I don't know. That's a tough one. The Byrds, same thing. The Velvet Underground should not be in here at all. I don't care what. Just because they had an Andy Warhol cover doesn't mean that you're okay to go on to number 9. I don't know who the fuck was thinking about that one. Everything else I'm okay with. I would just reorder a lot of these things. I'm a huge Smiths fan. Love the Beach Boys. Obviously, we both love Oasis. The Clash as well too. I love the Clash. I think they might be a little bit too high on
I
here.
thought it was a little high for them.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just the Talking Heads. I do like as well too. I also think they're a little bit too high as well too.
Wrong.
I think no, wait, hold on. I think they should be on this list. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Because I like the Talking Heads, love them, and also too, they put on a great show as well too. They're just very theatrical and all that. I just think that they might be a little bit too high, at least on my end. But that's just me.
Yeah, I just recently watched Coachella was last week or last 2 weekends, but David Byrne was a not headliner, but late night Coachella. Still puts on a really good show. Yeah, but if I'm talking about the last or the 1 through 25, I think the things that stand out is for sure T-Rex. T-Rex being out there is shocking. Top 20. I know people. It's interesting. REM. If you listen to younger kids nowadays, REM's having a resurgence. I know. There's a lot of because they don't tour and they've said they're probably never gonna do it. And I know it's a lot like Oasis and people are waiting to see who the next band that comes back. But they've been adamant that they don't tour. There's a bunch of good REM cover bands. And one of them is from the guy. Oh, man, what's the actor on HBO from Boardwalk Empire? He was Zod in the Superman movies. He's from Chicago. Oh, my God. Yeah, Michael Shannon. Thank you. Colonel Bourbon coming in clutch. Michael Shannon has a REM cover band. And he kind of goes around and plays REM songs. Yeah, and Michael Michael Stipe is supports it basically. But yeah, no, I think REM's having a resurgence with people nowadays, and it's they're good, man. I'm happy with that ranking for them. At least the only other ones that I know a lot of people had an issue with was U2 being at number 3. People do not like Bono, do not like. I feel like U2 just. It's almost like you have to think about them pre the Apple iPod debacle, and then post, because that really turned a lot of people off on them. Is them putting their album onto an iPad when no one asked for it.
Yeah,
I specifically like them. Julie and I like U2. I've seen them a couple times. Me and Julie saw them once. I like all other music, so I would probably leave them there, or at least have them in the top 10. But I know a lot of people did not like that ranking for you too. But I think they still hold up. Bloody Sunday, I listen to once a week at least.
I mean, I think people forget, like, when U2 was doing these concerts, like they were doing that Zoo TV tour, and there's this one that I remember our Uncle Paul always mentioned. I'll never forget this, is when they were in Mexico City and they were coming
Yeah.
out to Bono was dressed as a boxer, and that crowd, everything about it, goosebumps. That first 15 minutes of that, going and them going to the stage, it was great. They're, like I said, I would reorder this. And before I even continue, I think Mailman Jack wants to beat me up because I said bad things about REM. Listen, I don't hate REM. I said that they have good stuff. They were a big college. They were big in college campuses, like when they first started. That was like the thing. And like I said, I don't dislike them. I just think they might be a little bit too high on this list for me. This is just my opinion. Everybody else has his opinions. But yeah, I know. I get it with the whole U2 thing. Either you like them or you don't. There's no in between at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we were doing the re-ranking things, the one thing I obviously, for me, Talking Heads is very up there. I think they're good at 23. I'm with you. I think the Beach Boys could easily be higher. I think they could easily be, top 5, top 8 if you really want to go about it and like kind of break it down. So I think Beach Boys could for sure be, higher than Velvet Underground, or
who I would definitely replace on one of these lists. I don't know who I would put in there. They don't have Chicago on there. Chicago was
that's a good omission. Yeah. Chicago. You know what? We did this kind of last minute because I was running late and it was going to be an open swim. It would be interesting. Maybe we come back in a couple weeks and we make our own. We should make our own list.
Hey, I could reorder it. I could do that. I'm already starting to think about which bands, why are they not on here? Because there's some that should not be on here at all. And I don't know, again, I don't know whoever was doing this list, but it just seems like some of them was like very influential, very artsy. Like I said, the Velvet Underground. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Mailman Jack saying Beach Boys were literally America's answer to the Beatles. And I would argue that Beach Boys is better.
What about the Monkees? I thought that was also a okay. I'm sorry.
And we're talking about like the omission of like newer bands besides Franz Ferdinand, which is crazy. I like that the Strokes are 22. I just recently again watched them at Coachella. They still put on a fucking awesome show. I know people don't like Julian Casablanca all that much, or I guess some people do, some people don't. I think they put on a really good show. So I'm happy that they were at 22. Maybe a little high, but they're good.
I think they might be a little high. I definitely think that they should be on there because to me, they kind of saved what I thought was dying in the rock scene. It became more like garage rock more than anything, but obviously they came out with like, I was just talking to my buddy about this, but like, they came out with the Hives. They had all those dub bands, the Hives and, like
the Killers.
Yeah, the Killers. Yeah, of course, the Killers. So
I might put the Killers. No, I'm just
the kidding. White Stripes. Oh, White Stripes too. Yeah.
No, yeah. Colonel Bourbon saying White Stripes ? It's crazy now looking back. At the time when they were like full-fledged a band, I don't think people gave them enough respect. They're huge, but people didn't give them enough respect of how good they were. I feel like people didn't realize how good Jack White was for a long time. I know, like he was still very influential, but like now, like he's, like I would say top 5 people in rock and roll currently. Like he could do no wrong at this point. And at the time, at least me, like I didn't give the White Stripes enough credit. I did have their first 2 albums and I liked them, but it's just like, it wasn't like, oh, I'll go see them later. And then they break up and it's like, I'm never going to see the White Stripes again.
Yeah. I will never forget. And I was talking about this to my friend, because we were talking about the Strokes. Strokes are actually coming to concert here in Chicago. Do you remember when we had a chance to go see them in Milwaukee? At the rave.
Yeah.
In their prime. as
That
well
was
too.
during This Is It, when they were touring This Is It,
Yes.
which is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yes, but we didn't get to see them.
Yeah, Colonel
It
Bourbon
was a
saying
miss out.
Jack is Heather's favorite. Yeah, I talked about them. We saw him at Riot Fest. That was it last Riot Fest or 2 Riot Fests ago? I think it was last Riot Fest. And we were sitting at like this bar area, and Jack White was playing. And it was cool because I had a seat. So I'm like, I could see the entire crowd, and I could see Jack White ripping it. And as soon as like Seven Nation Army hit, because he still plays like some White Stripes songs, I was like a moth to a flame. I was like a zombie, like walking towards its leader. Like Julie and everyone we were with were still sitting down, and I'm like, I can't be sitting right now. I just like started walking into the crowd of people because it was like something came over me. I'm like, I got to get closer to watch this. Yeah. Though I mean, obviously one of the biggest, rock anthems of all time, stadium anthems, if you will. But yeah, he puts on a great show. Yumper is saying something that HBIC was saying earlier. Rage not being on here is kind of weird considering their impact, as well as the Misfits and the Cure. That Cure needs to be higher. I agree that the Cure needs to be higher. I agree that Rage should be on here. And that goes to my earlier point of like, there's just not enough like 80s or 90s bands representation on this list.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rage should definitely be on this list. Some of their first albums were incredible. They were doing so many things as well too. I mean, I'm surprised that I don't see the Foo Fighters on here.
Yeah, you know what? The Foo Fighters are having like a real interesting thing, and I know a lot of it's been recency bias because
I get it. You know,
his transgressions, if you will.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they have the longevity. That's what the one thing Foo Fighters have, and they've got a good amount of hits. But like, I just don't see if people see them like the same way as like Rolling Stones or even REM or Metallica. Like,
this is where I'm getting at, is that I would see more of people talk about we'll talk about the Foo Fighters. I never hear anybody talk about T-Rex at all. I know who T-Rex is.
That's a good
you know
point.
What I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do that, they should definitely be on there. You could agree to disagree on all that, but I think that, yes, I think we should go on, like, we could rearrange this how we want, add who we want, subtract, and then come back and just see who compare our list.
All right, yeah, let's do that. We'll give each other a couple weeks of homework, and maybe we'll come back in about 2-3 weeks, and I'll make another music episode, and we'll rearrange this list as we see fit.
Yes.
And nobody could tell us anything that we're wrong because it's our show. Exactly. All right, that is all of the segments that I had. I said this was open swim, so we got another 20-25 minutes left. If you guys want to talk about the White Sox, give us a score, because I don't have any screens on me right now.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, but I know, Johnny, you wanted to talk about a couple things. You want to talk about WrestleMania. We barely talked about WrestleMania on the Bumcast because we were running late. But we could deep dive into WrestleMania. I know a lot of people did not like it. I would assume you're in the same boat.
Well, yeah, they actually today they came out with the numbers of what the results were as far as viewership and the TV numbers. So Saturday they had 1.62 million, and then Sunday they had 1.82 million. Now, everybody was complaining about the commercials. I did too. I didn't. To me, I feel it just felt like WrestleMania was ruined. Commercials and all that stuff. Too many ads all over the place on the ring. It looked like a NASCAR car. But comparison to the numbers, I was looking at to see the viewership and see how everything was in past WrestleManias. And one recent WrestleMania 40, had over 2 million viewers. That's a huge knockoff from like a couple years ago. And I'll say like there's a couple things to it. One, I just feel like the product is very stale. It's very predictable. It's not, to me. It just reeks of TKO. Like they're putting their hands in the cookie jar as well too, and I just think that it's not as good as what it used to be. Obviously, I'm a wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan for all my life, but to me, I just feel it's going completely stale. There's just, like I said, there's too much predictability to it. A couple years ago, I'd say 3 years ago was great. I think another thing too that turns people off is nobody wants to pay $30 a month to watch this stuff. Nobody's going to be wanting to pay this stuff. And I think that's also a turnoff too. A couple years ago it was on Peacock, or a couple years ago after that it was on the WWE Network. It was very affordable. To me, I just feel like, it just, to me, it's just not working. And I hope maybe for some reason that they change it. I don't think they are, because I know it's a business. So I totally get that. But I think there is a huge turnoff, because the fact that they're only getting 1.6, that's SmackDown and Raw numbers. This is WrestleMania. You should not be getting that type of numbers for WrestleMania, something that's been forever, since the 80s. And, I don't know. I didn't go back as far as seeing how the other numbers and pay-per-view buys and all that. But for me, for being WrestleMania, I think you should be a little bit higher.
Yeah, and it's something that you touched on, and it's something we didn't mention on Monday, but like I had a conversation with Jason, and don't come at me, internet or whoever is in charge, but like I bootlegged it. I don't have ESPN Unlimited. I basically bootleg everything. CHSN I ain't paying for either. But even if I didn't, I didn't know how to watch it. I had to text Jason and be like, "Hey, how does a normal person watch this thing?" Because it used to be, if you're a wrestling fan, you have WWE Network and you can just watch it there. And I could go on there and watch the PLEs, if they call them now, but the pay-per-views. If you're a casual, and I'm talking casual fan, they're making it impossible to watch the product nowadays. And that's the thing. It's like, the numbers are gonna drop because you're overpricing your actual tickets, so people aren't going to it's indicative, because last year at the same venue they had over 70,000 people, and this year it was only 55 and 50,000. What does that tell you? 1 year removed. That's bad, man. And then the viewership as well. Like, if you can't watch the product, you got to make it easier. And that's something I've talked about, me as a soccer fan, and like I'm a diehard Chicago Fire fan. I'm watching Apple TV. I have the subscription. Last year, you had to get a subscription for MLS on Apple TV. And I'm like, you're the casual person, just the casual Chicago sports fan isn't going to do that. My dad, who likes soccer, he's like, how do I watch the Fire? I'm like, oh, you got to do this, and then you got to do this. And he's like, he's not going to do that. So it's like, now it's under the regular Apple TV. I think the MLS realized how bad they fucked up, and they put it under the regular Apple TV umbrella, which is a good thing. But the WWE is never going to do that. So it's a WWE. It's the NFL that now is on like 7 different streaming platforms and everything else. They're just making it so much harder to view your product. And I mean, we're White Sox, Blackhawks, and Bulls fans, and CHSN is the same way.
You think that they should go back to just a one night instead of 2?
If it was this year, yeah. I think it's crazy. Not only is it like the Saturday card had 7 matches, Sunday had 6 matches. You could fit all 13 of those matches in one card. And we were all in a group text, and I was also texting Brian S. and Jordan from Bonehead and Brewski. So like I was just texting while watching wrestling. And my prevalent thing was like, it felt weird that both WrestleManias were over before 9 o'clock. It was 8:30 and they were over. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, people had watch parties. Joey had a watch party, like do it every year. Imagine your watch party being over like 8:30 at night. I'm like, what in the fuck? So yeah, they could probably, and I understand a lot of people don't like the prolonged pay-per-views, but there's an in between, right? It doesn't have to be 4 o'clock to midnight, but if it's from 6 to 11 for one pay-per-view a year, that's probably a good thing. You could, but you're losing on another night of revenue, so it's just never going to go back to that.
Yeah, especially the fact that they're bringing the time limit of matches down as well too, like having 7-minute matches, and I think that Brock Lesnar Obi match was like 5 minutes or something like that. Like it was a short, yeah. So I mean, if you're gonna do that, yeah, just bring it to one night. You definitely get, to me, I feel like you'll still get you'll generate revenue. You're still gonna get like that big crowd. You'll probably even get a bigger crowd because it's just one night. I used to like the one night because it was the one night of the year that it's WrestleMania. You have your watch parties or whatever. To me, I just feel like it's just ever since TKO took over, it's different. It's changed. It's just not my wrestling that I used to. I'm talking like an old man over here, but it's just not the same wrestling that I grew up with.
But that's just like, now I'm gonna sound real that's just late stage capitalism right now. Every company is nickel and diming you to death. Like I've had this rant once before, I think on an older Bumcast, but look, this is World Cup 94. My dad took me to the game, Soldier Field, Germany versus Spain. Awesome game. Germany, Spain, two premium teams, Soldier Field, good seats, $25. My dad was able to take the whole family to a game, to the World Cup game. The fact that FIFA is charging thousands of dollars for tickets, and then they're surprised that tickets are sitting, and they're like, oh, we're releasing more tickets. You're not releasing any tickets. People aren't buying them because they're thousands of dollars. How do you go from $25 in 1994 to literally $2,000 for like the same seat in 2026? You can't tell me inflation. It's just people being greedy and people wanting to nickel and dime and squeeze every fucking penny out of you. So it's like, it's fucking crazy. Like they announced the World Cup was coming here years ago, and me and Jason were like, oh, let's go to a game. And I'm like, oh, I'll take my family. My dad took, it was like me, my cousin Jero, my uncle, my tío Paco. Like there's a bunch of people that went. Nobody in my family, and luckily, knock on wood, we're decently well off, but like I can't afford FIFA tickets in 2026. I ain't going to no games.
Kind of feel like it's a good segue to what I was wanted to talk about next.
That's exactly
about the World Cup, but that is crazy. I mean, how tickets were. I think even then, like $25 was still like pretty decent. It wasn't like that high amount. You could definitely afford it, and just. Yeah, there's just a ton of people that are complaining about the World Cup and how even the transit, the way that you get to the games is going to cost you like a pretty penny as well too. They are completely fucking it up in the United States, really bad, and it's a big turnoff to me as far as a World Cup fan, a soccer fan, and they're doing all this stuff you're not going to have like people like. They were mentioning like a game. It was like in Egypt. I forgot who they were playing, but people were saying that tickets were not going to sell. Well, yeah, because you're charging like an arm and a leg to go see these games. Like make it easily affordable for people that want to go see this. So I think right now it's a big thing. Obviously we're talking about the wrestling thing, but this is the same thing that's going on with the World Cup, and it's a huge turnoff.
Yeah, and it's like you mentioned, like JT's in the comments, and he makes a great point, is that the other side of the ticket cost is they're getting a ton more money for sponsorship too. FIFA is so greedy right now that they are like doubling their TV fees, that some countries, I think they said that some European countries can't afford to watch the World Cup. Like it's crazy. You got to make it again more accessible. But the fact that like they announced that like they're having hydration breaks for the first time ever in this World Cup. And I'm like, they didn't have hydration breaks in Qatar. Qatar. The reason they're having hydration breaks isn't for the safety of players in, playing in Miami or Texas or anywhere else. It's because they're going to show ads during those commercial breaks. It's obvious. The one thing about soccer that I like is like, for 90 minutes, you're going to get 15 minutes of ads during halftime. The other 45 minutes, you're going to maybe see some ads on screen, but it's action. You see the soccer, you see everything else. The fact that they're just shoving ads into hydration breaks now and everything else. This World Cup, and we teased about maybe bringing back the soccer show, and I still kind of want to do it when the World Cup starts, or maybe do some after shows or something like that, because I still love it. I'm still going to watch, but they are leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It's brutal.
It's not good. This is what I was getting from, because I was reading up on the Athletic. This says some 2026 World Cup games just aren't selling at the rate FIFA would like them to. That applies to games like New Zealand versus Egypt, Uzbekistan versus DR Congo, Saudi Arabia versus Cape Verde, and remarkably, the United States opener against Paraguay. Okay, I understand New Zealand and Egypt is not a very, it's a popular game. I'm sorry to say it, but people are going to still want to go see the World Cup. Like it always sells out, and I'm not quite sure what stadiums they're going to be in as well too. But the United States versus Paraguay game, that is embarrassing. The fact that, but then again, we could go back to the whole ticket cost as well too. That's the reason why it hasn't been, a big thing. Plus these times that they have it, I think that game's going to be like at 9:00 at night as well too. It's tough, man. It's tough because when they announced that the World Cup was going to be in the United States, Mexico, and Canada, I was very excited. I was pumped up because I'm like, yeah, this is going to be kind of like, it's going to be better to me. It's going to be better than 94. Obviously, it sucks that they didn't come to Chicago, stadium. We could talk about that at a different time. But it does suck. And I just think that I hope they fix it, because I didn't even realize the World Cup is in less than 2 months here. It's coming. It's coming quick. So maybe there might be something where they think about like, hey, maybe we should lower this stuff down. I don't know if it's going to happen, but you got to sell out that home opener for the United States and Paraguay. That would be embarrassing if they don't.
So here's the problem with especially the United States and Paraguay game, because I've been looking at it and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to go to. It'd be fun to watch. And the rumor is that they are going to bring it down to, it's not gonna, it's going to be a sellout. They'll do that by hook or by crook. But what happens to all the people that are already paid the $1,200?
Yeah,
because that right now the get-in price for USA Paraguay was $1,200, because like they control all the tickets and it's a premium game. Kind of like how the White Sox and Cubs kind of do their thing. So it's a premium game. So it's $1,200 get in. If they start doing like, oh, we're releasing more tickets and they're on sale, what happens to all the people that already bought those tickets? I'd be fucking pissed, like flying in and paying that kind of money. But you got to do something. So yeah, maybe there's still a slim hope that maybe I go to one of these games. But at this point, like the other thing is that both Mexico and the United States, they look terrible right now. The fact that they didn't have to qualify for this World Cup and like they just coasted in, like I have no faith that either of them are going to be doing any good. Like obviously you knock on wood and anything, you like never say never, anything could happen. But the fact that both of the teams look like trash right now and like the tickets are $1,200, like there's absolutely no hype for this. And it's my favorite sporting event since I've been a kid. Like, and it's just like, I'm going to watch because, I'm going to watch Spain. I'm going to watch France. I'm going to watch Germany. I'm going to watch all the good games because they still bring it. But like, yeah, the fact that FIFA opened it up now, that's the other thing is like, there's more contestants. So there's going to be more bad games. There's going to be more, Congos.
It's 48 now, right?
48 now. Yeah. So it's like, there's going to be worse games.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Your excitement going into this, because like I said, we're less than 2 months away. But yes, you talked about the teams, Mexico and United States. Not good. It's not something to be very excited about. Whoever's on here, whoever roots from Mexico or United States, I don't know what to tell you. It's not something that's going to be like, like we're watching USA hockey. in no sense at all. But obviously, I'm still going to be excited. I'm still going to support them, the United States, and obviously Mexico as well too. I just think that there's just less excitement from some of the last World Cups where they had pretty decent teams.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be excited anyways. I love the World Cup. It's my favorite time of the year when it comes to soccer. So I'm pumped. I just wish that the both teams would have been a little bit better, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the excitement's gonna ramp up for me. I've been excited for it, and like like I mentioned, there's still very good. There's still really good storylines to follow, some player involvement, and like what is like someone like Erling Haaland gonna do? Can he take over a game and kind of like do everything by himself? Although he's got a very good team, that's a sleeper pick for maybe a different podcast. But yeah, I'm gonna be excited still, but it just feels different. It's almost like watching a WrestleMania or watching something like that, where it's like, I used to be a lot more excited for it, and now it's kind of dwindling. But it'll ramp up. Like you mentioned, we got 2 months, so it'll be fine.
Yep, looking forward to it.
But yeah, that was our open gym. Actually, this kind of went easy. We went into this not knowing how like I had a couple of segments that I wanted to get to, and now we got a couple more segments for in a couple of weeks. We're gonna redo the top 50 list of all time. So I kind of like this. We might have to do an open gym concept a couple more times. I do have a couple more regimented shows coming up, but yeah, I appreciate you hopping on, and I put out the bat signal and you're right away, and I feel like this went well, Johnny.
Yes, I was very excited when I was looking forward to it. And yeah, I love talking about all this stuff, and yes, I probably once we're done with this, I'm probably going to start doing my list.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be fun. So that'll be a tease for in a couple weeks. We'll do a music episode of the Bologna Show, and I'll have like like a deep dive segment, and then we'll do our list. So that'll be fun. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Thank you to the usuals, Colonel Bourbon and JT and Yumper and Gordo and Frank's always in the comments. HBIC, Joey, and the rest of the bums. But thank you to all for watching. We'll be back next week, 9:00 for the next couple weeks. I keep teasing them. We're doing puppy training on Wednesday nights, so it'll be Wednesday nights 9 p.m. for the next couple weeks, and then we're back to our normal 8:00 schedule. So thank you guys so much. We'll be back on the Bumcast on Monday, Bologna Show on Wednesdays, and everything else. We'll smell you later.
Goodbye for tonight.